And welcome back as we continue our journey through the book of Acts. Today we finish chapter 22. And we have seen so far that Paul has been giving his testimony, what has been happening actually in Acts chapter 9. So in this chapter, Paul's kind of giving us the behind the scenes of what was going on, his interactions with God, but also how God has brought people in his life to encourage him and build him up. So we finish the testimony today in verses 22 through 30. I'm going to read a portion of scripture, pull out a timeless truth. Let's dive in. Up to this word, they listened to him. Then they raised their voices and said, "Away with such a fellow from the earth, for he should not be allowed to live." And as they were shouting and throwing off their cloaks and flinging dust into the air, the tribune ordered him to be brought into the barracks, saying that he should be examined by flogging, to find out why they were shouting against him like this. But when they had stretched him out for the whips, Paul said to the centurion who was standing by, "Is it lawful for you to flog a man who is a Roman citizen and uncondemned?" When the centurion heard this, he went to the tribune and said to him, "What are you about to do? For this man is a Roman citizen." So the tribune came and said to him, "Tell me, are you a Roman citizen?" And he said, "Yes." The tribune answered, "I bought the citizenship for a large sum." Paul said, "But I am a citizen by birth." So those who were about to examine him withdrew from him immediately. And the tribune also was afraid, for he realized that Paul was a Roman citizen and that he had bound him. But on the next day, desiring to know the real reason why he was being accused by the Jews, he unbound him and commanded the chief priests and all the council to meet. And he brought Paul down and set him before them. ... Just sets you up for the next chapter. So even in the midst of chaos, Paul chose to extend grace towards those who had captured him. As a Roman citizen, he had the legal right to a fair trial before being chained or whipped. Yet in Acts chapter 21, verse 33, we see him restrained by chains, violating the protections of Roman law. The scene was tense and chaotic, and it's likely Paul had no chance to inform the Roman official of his status before the order was given. When the tribune later learned Paul was a citizen, the reality sank in. If he had carried out the punishment, it could have cost him not only his career, but possibly his life. Paul's silence in that moment highlights more than a missed opportunity to defend himself. It reveals a heart willing to endure injustice with patience. What makes Paul's response remarkable is that he had every right to fight back, to argue, or lash out at the tribune for violating his rights. Yet, he didn't. Instead of making the official his enemy, Paul extended grace amid wrongdoing. His restraint serves as a reminder that extending grace is often most powerful when we feel wronged and justified in retaliating. For the believer, this challenges us to follow Paul's example, choosing patience, humility, and grace, even when we have every reason to push back. Grace in these moments not only spares others, but also reflects the heart of Christ, who himself did not retaliate when wronged, but entrusted himself to God's justice. So, church, let me encourage you with this right here. That as you've been hearing about grace, I feel like I said grace a million times this week. But it's such a great, not only theme, lesson, reminder, reality that God invites us to live in, that we can accept his grace to find our identity and our purpose and our worth and our value. But also it is grace that we can extend to others who are least deserving in our eyes, whether that might be forgiveness or extending patience or extending mercy, whatever it may look like in your circumstance. But I hope that as we have went over grace so much, that it won't just land here in your head, but you'll apply it into your heart and live out this grace, the grace that you have between you and God and the grace you can extend to others. Let's live in grace, walk in grace, talk with grace, believe in His grace. It is so good. God bless.